Hey, thanks for watching today's Drawing for Adults video. This class is offered as a partnership between the Ann Arbor District Library and the Ann Arbor Art Center. So let's go ahead and jump right in. So today we're talking about Fauvism, and we're going to be creating some really colorful, bold flowers, but first let me just give you a brief introduction to Fauvism. So Fauvism, the term itself, or the art movement, was coined by a French art critic who wasn't exactly using it in the most favorable, complimentary kind of way. It was really referencing more like it literally means wild beasts, and so he said, you know, Donatello amongst the wild beasts, basically meaning that seeing a classical sculpture that was surrounded by paintings that looked as if they were painted by a wild beast, because it was just the colors are very brash and rough and very spontaneous, and so the name stuck. So the artists that are really known for being fauves are Henri Matisse and Andre de Rein. So Matisse was seen as a leader of the movement. He was often considered to be the most artistic and most talented of the group, and he was also the most highly trained as well as the oldest. So his artwork, you may be familiar with a lot of his artwork anyway, was very bold and colorful, very energetic. You can really see a lot of his brushwork. So here is an example of one of his paintings, and here's another. So you can see that the colors are not that realistic. They're much more colorful, and also the style isn't very realistic. So here's another piece where we're just seeing exaggerative use of color and brushwork. Okay, now this is a portrait of Henri Matisse, but it is not by Henri Matisse. This is by Andre de Rein. And here's another painting by the same artist, where again we're seeing a lot of similarities in terms of color and brushwork with that exaggerative use of both. This is another artist from that same movement. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump into painting or drawing these flowers. So you really can use any materials, but I'm just going to start with a pencil sketch here with the intent to come back in with some pastels. So I'm keeping my drawing very loose because, as we saw with the examples, nothing was rendered that realistically. I am going to use really bold, bright colors, so I'm not going to be using browns or grays or even that much white. I'm gonna really just go fully saturated, full pigments here without doing too much extra color here. I mean, too much extra shading and that type of thing. I'm just gonna do full use of really saturated, intense colors. So you can see here I'm using a soft pastel type of brush here. Of course, I'm doing this digitally, so it's a little different, but you can still see it has the texture of it, and I'm doing a little bit of smudging. Now, if you're using oil pastels instead, you can also experiment with scratching into the surface. So I'm kind of doing that here to show you what that would look like. Just have fun with it though. This is an opportunity to loosen up with your style and just try to be really creative. And same thing with your flowers. If you are looking at a photo reference, then I encourage you to branch out a little bit and try not to get too close to what it actually looks like, and use some unusual colors. One thing that can be helpful is just doing kind of an outline with some kind of color. So in this case, I've done a purple outline around these flowers, and then, I mean, these colors could be found in nature, of course, but they're pretty bright and just really fun. So you can do this with a different subject matter. You don't have to do flowers, of course, so feel free to try something different. You could do it with a portrait. You saw the examples of the other work by the Fauves, and so if you feel inspired by one of those pieces, or you want to just do a study of one of those pieces, feel free to go back and pause it and start by doing that before moving on to something else, but I think it's always good after doing a study to then, try to take some other kind of subject matter and use those same techniques and the same approach and styles that you used in a study or in something you've done previously, to do it in your own kind of way with your own subject matter. So hope that you have enjoyed our video today and that you'll tune in with us next time and have fun making a really fun, colorful work of art today.